Hello, welcome to an overview of Bulletin 137, Louisiana's Early Learning Center, License and Regulations, Lecture 2, Chapters 11 through 17. My name is Rachel Dixon, and I'm a Field Operations Senior Program Manager with the Division of Licensing, and I will be presenting this lecture to you. Introduction to Course 2. The objective of this course is to provide an overview of the regulations found in Chapter 11, Critical Incidents and Required Notification, Chapter 13, Denial, Revocation, Non-Renewal of a License, Chapter 15, Minimum General Requirements and Standards, and Chapter 17, Minimum Staffing Requirements and Standards. Questions related to the Early Learning Center regulations can be directed to your licensing consultant, or you can email ldelicensing@la.gov or phone call at 225-342-9905. Quiz. To help you dig deeper into the licensing regulations, there will be a quiz at the end of each chapter. Chapter 11. Section 1103, Critical Incidents and Required Notification. An early learning center shall make immediate notification to emergency personnel, law enforcement as applicable, and other appropriate agencies for the following types of critical incidents involving children in care: death, serious injury or illness that required medical attention, reportable infectious diseases and conditions listed in LAC 51.2.105, and any other significant event relating to the health, safety, or well-being of any child, including but not limited to a lost child, an emergency situation, fire, or other structural damage, or the closure of the center. The parent shall be contacted immediately following any immediate notifications made under subsection A. The department and other appropriate agencies shall be notified via email within 24 hours of the incident. The department shall be notified by written report within 24 hours of the incident or the next business day. This written notification shall be made on the department's Critical Incidents Report form and shall contain all information requested on the form. Reporting deadlines may be adjusted in the event of a natural catastrophe and/or disaster as determined by the department. Quiz. Choose the correct answer. Number 1, who as applicable shall an Early Learning Center notify immediately when a critical incident involving children occurs? A, emergency personnel, law enforcement, and Channel 2 News. B, emergency personnel, law enforcement, and other appropriate agencies. C, emergency personnel, child welfare, and licensing. D, emergency personnel. B, emergency personnel, law enforcement, and other appropriate agencies. Number 2, what are some types of critical incidents involving children? A, death, serious injury, or illness requiring medical attention, reportable infectious diseases and conditions listed in LAC 51.2.105, and any other significant event relating to the health, safety, or well-being of any child, including but not limited to a lost child, an emergency situation, fire, or other structural damage or closure of the center. B, a 2-year-old child fell and scratched his knee. C, a mother called to request a copy of an incident report. A, death, serious injury, or illness requiring medical attention, reportable infectious diseases and conditions listed in LAC 51.Roman numeral 2.105, and any other significant event relating to the health, safety, or well-being of any child, including but not limited to a lost child, an emergency situation, fire, or structural damage, or closure of the center. 3. When should a parent be contacted if their child is involved in a critical incident? A. After the provider investigates the incident. B. Immediately. C. The following business day. B. Immediately. True or false? Number 4. The department and other agencies shall be notified of a critical incident within 24 hours. True. Number 5. The provider should report the critical incident to the department after they have all of the facts. False. Chapter 13. Denial, revocation, or non-renewal of a license. Section 1301. Reasons for denial, revocation, or refusal to renew. The following includes, but not limited to, a list of reasons that an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. Violation of any provision of RS 17407.31. Violation of any rules and regulations in this bulletin. Failure to meet any minimum standards in this bulletin. Failure to timely comply with the corrective action plan approved by the department. History of non-compliance with licensing laws, rules, or minimum standards. Section 1303, Notice of Denial, Revocation, or Refusal to Renew. The department shall provide written notice to a center of its reasons for the denial of an application for licensure, or the revocation of or refusal to renew a license, and of the right to appeal the decision to the Division of Administrative Law, also known as DAL. The denial, revocation, or refusal to renew shall be effective when notice is given and the center shall surrender its existing license to the department. Section 1305, Posting of Notice of Revocation. The department shall promptly post notice of a revocation action at each public entrance of the center within 1 business day of such action. Such notice of revocation shall remain posted and visible to parents of children at the center throughout the pendency of any appeal of the revocation. The center shall not permit the destruction or removal of a notice of revocation action and shall ensure that the notice continues to be visible to any person entering the center throughout the pendency of any appeal. Section 1307, Appeal of Denial, Revocation, or Refusal to Renew. A request for an appeal submitted to the department shall include a copy of the written reasons for denial, revocation, or refusal to renew, and written identification of specific areas of the decision believed to be erroneous and or specific reasons the decision is believed to have been reached in error. The department shall notify the Division of Administrative Law, DAL, within 10 calendar days of receipt of a timely request for an appeal of the denial of an application or the revocation of or refusal to renew a license. The DAL shall hold a hearing no later than 30 calendar days after receipt of such notice, with an administrative ruling provided to the center no later than 15 calendar days from the date of the hearing for revocation or refusal to renew a license, or within 30 calendar days from the date of a hearing for the denial of a license. Section 1309, Disqualification Period following revocation or refusal to renew. If a license is revoked or renewal is refused due to failure to comply with licensing laws, regulations, or minimum standards, or if a license is surrendered to avoid such action, a center shall not be qualified to submit a new application for licensure for a minimum period, a minimum disqualification period of 24 months. The minimum disqualification period shall begin on the later of the effective date of revocation, refusal to renew, or surrender to avoid adverse action, or the day after all appeal rights have been exhausted. Any unlicensed operation during the disqualification period shall interrupt running of the 24-month prescriptive period until the department has verification that the unlicensed operations have ceased. Any pending application by the same center shall be treated as an application for a new center for purposes of this section and may be denied and subject to the disqualification period. If the owner of a center has multiple licensed early learning centers and the license of one center is revoked, renewal is refused, or the license is surrendered to avoid adverse action, a capacity increase may be denied at any of the existing licensed centers for the minimum disqualification period. If the owner of a center has multiple licensed early learning centers and a license is revoked, renewal is refused, or the license is surrendered to avoid adverse actions for one center due to the actions on the part of the owner or a director who is responsible for more than one center, the licenses at all locations may be reviewed for possible revocation or refusal to renew. If an applicant has a history of noncompliance with licensing laws, regulations, or minimum standards, including but not limited to operating without a license, or has been denied one or more previous applications for licensure, the department may refuse to accept a subsequent application from the applicant for the minimum disqualification period after the effective date of the most recent adverse action. An application for a new license for a center whose license has been revoked or renewal has been refused or whose license has been surrendered to avoid adverse action may be denied if the applicant is an affiliate of the center. Quiz. True or false? Number 1. There are 18 reasons that an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. True. Number 2. Failure to meet any minimum standards in Bulletin 137 is a reason an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. True. Number 3. Failure to comply with the corrective action plan approved by the department is a reason an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. True. Number 4, a history of noncompliance with licensing laws, rules, or minimum standards is a reason an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. True. Number 5, failure to submit an application for renewal prior to the expiration of the license is a reason an application for licensure may be denied or a license may be revoked or renewal refused. True. Chapter 15, Minimum General Requirements and Standards. Section 1501, Operations. A center shall operate within the license capacity, age range, hours of operation, and other specific services designated on its license. Section 1503, General Liability Insurance Policy. A center shall maintain in force at all times current commercial liability insurance for the operation of the center to ensure medical coverage for children in the event of accident or injury. A center is responsible for payment of medical expenses of a child injured while in the center's care. Documentation of commercial liability insurance shall consist of the insurance policy, a current binder that includes the name of the Early Learning Center, physical address of the center, name of the insurance company, policy number, period of coverage, and explanation of the coverage. Parents shall not be required to waive the center's responsibility. Parents may elect to use their own insurance. Section 1507, daily attendance records. Children. A daily attendance record for children shall be maintained that shall include the child's first and last name, arrival and departure time, and the first and last name of person or entity to whom the child is released. Accurately reflect children on the center's premise at any given time, and be used to sign in and out if a child leaves and returns to the center during the day. Staff and owners. A daily attendance record for all staff members and owners shall be maintained that shall include the first and last name of the staff member or owner and arrival and departure time. Accurately reflect the staff member and owners on the premises at any given time, and be used to document staff members and owners who leave and return to the center during the day. Independent contractors. A daily attendance record for all extracurricular personnel, therapeutic professionals, and other independent contractors shall include the first and last name of the contractor, date of visit, arrival and departure times, name of staff members that accompany contractor if required, and purpose of the visit. Student trainees. A daily attendance record for all student trainees shall include the student's first and last name, the school affiliation and date, and arrival and departure times. Visitors. A daily attendance record for all visitors shall include name, date of visit, arrival and departure time, and the purpose of the visit. Daily attendance records shall be maintained on site for 3 years. Section 1509, policy. An early learning center shall establish in writing, prominently post or show parent signature of receipt, and implement the following policies and minimum provisions of such policies. Section 1511, procedures. An early learning center shall establish in writing and implement the following procedures. Physical activity. Children under age 2 shall be provided time and space for age-appropriate physical activity, both indoors and outdoors, weather permitting, for a minimum of 60 minutes per day. Children aged 2 and older shall be provided physical activity that includes a combination of both teacher-led and free play, both indoors and outdoors, weather permitting, for a minimum of 60 minutes per day. Sleep, rest. Infants shall be allowed to sleep according to their individual schedule. Children under age 4 shall have daily rest time of at least 75 minutes in programs operating more than 5 hours per day. Children ages 4 and older shall be offered the opportunity for quiet time. Receiving and releasing a child from the center. Section 1513, schedules. An early learning center shall establish in writing and post the following schedules. Schedule of days and hours of operation includes scheduled days, and holidays when the center is closed, and daily schedule that includes times of planned activities, including early learning activities, allowing for flexibility and change. Section 1515, Child Records and Cumulative Files. A cumulative file shall be maintained on each child that shall include the following records: an information form signed and dated by the parent and updated as changes occur that contain name of child, date of birth, sex, date of admission, name of parent, and the home address of both child and parent. Phone numbers where parents may be reached while child is in care. Name and phone number of person to contact in an emergency if parents cannot be located promptly. Name and telephone number of child's physicians if applicable. Name and telephone number of the child's dentist if applicable. Any special concerns, including but not limited to allergies, chronic illnesses, and any special needs of the child, if applicable, and any special dietary needs, restrictions, or food allergies or intolerances, if applicable. See paragraph 4. A cumulative file shall be maintained on each child that shall include the following records: special diet, unless the program is officially on the Child and Adult Care Food Program, also known as CACFP, a parent may request special diet adjustment, i.e., no milk on a particular day. If a center is on the CACFP, a written statement from a healthcare provider is required when the child requires a special diet for medical reasons. Written authorization signed and dated by the parent to secure emergency medical treatment, and written authorization signed and dated by the parent noting the first and last name of individuals to whom the child may be released other than the parents, including any other early learning centers, transportation services, and any person or persons who may remove the child from the center. The parent may further authorize additional individuals via a text message, fax, or email to the center in unplanned situations and follow it up with a written authorization. A child shall never be released to anyone unless authorized in writing by the parent. Any additions and deletions to the list of authorized individuals shall be signed and dated by the parent. The center shall verify the identity of the authorized person prior to releasing the child. The center shall also obtain written consent from the parent prior to releasing any information, recordings, or photographs from which the child might be identified, except to authorized state and federal agencies. This one-time written consent shall be obtained from the parent and updated as changes occur. Confidentiality. The center shall maintain the confidentiality and security of all records of children. Center staff is prohibited from disclosing or knowingly permitting the disclosure of any information concerning the child or the family of the child, either directly or indirectly, to any unauthorized person. Retention of records. Records of children shall be maintained by a center for a minimum of 3 years from the date of termination of the child's enrollment at the center. An early learning center shall provide a written copy of health-related policies established by the center, including policies regarding accidents, allergic reactions, fever, illness, immunization, infections, and injuries to the parent or guardian of each child attending or enrolled at the early learning center. Quiz. Choose the correct answer. Number 1, a center shall operate blank. A, how they want to. B, within the age range of hours of operation. C, within the license capacity. D, within the license capacity, age range, hours of operation, and other specific services designated on this license. D, within the license capacity, age range, hours of operation, and other specific services designated on its license. Number 2, what should documentation of a commercial liability insurance consist of? A, insurance policy or current binder that includes the name of the Early Learning Center, physical address of the center, name of the insurance company, policy number, and period of coverage. B, insurance policy or current binder that includes the name of the Early Learning Center, physical address of the center, name of the insurance company, policy number, period of coverage, and explanation of the coverage. C, the name of the Early Learning Center and policy expiration date. D, insurance policy, Early Learning Center, and physical address. The answer is B, insurance policy or current binder that includes the name of the Early Learning Center, physical address of the center, name of the insurance company, policy number, period of coverage, and explanation of the coverage. Fill in the blank. 3, when an owner arrives to the center, the owner should sign in on the attendance log blank they began work at the center. Before. Choose the correct answer. Number 4, daily attendance record for all extracurricular personnel, therapeutic professionals, and other independent contractors shall include blank. A, the first and last name of the contractor, date of visit, arrival and departure time, and name of staff that accompany contractor, if required. B, the name and first and last name of the contractor, date of visit, name of staff member that accompany contractor, if required, and purpose of the visit. C, the first and last name of the contractor, date of visit, arrival and departure time, name of staff member that accompany contractor if required, and purpose of the visit. D, the first and last name of the contractor. B, the first and last name of the contractor, date of visit, name of staff member that accompany contractor if required, and purpose of the visit. Number 5, how long should the records of children be maintained from the date of termination of enrollment? A, 6 months, B, 2 days, C, 1 week, D, 3 years. D, 3 years. Chapter 17, minimum staffing requirements and standards. Section 1707, required staff. Each center shall have a qualified director or qualified director designee. The director or director designee shall be an on-site full-time staff person at the center during the daytime hours of operation prior to 9 p.m. When the director is not an on-site full-time employee at the licensed location, there shall be a qualified director designee who is an on-site full-time employee at the licensed location. The director or director designee shall be responsible for planning, managing, and controlling the center's daily activities, as well as responding to parental concerns and ensuring that minimum licensing standards are met. Staff in charge. When the director or director designee is not on the premises due to a temporary absence of less than 11 consecutive business days or during nighttime care hours, there shall be an individual appointed as staff in charge. The staff in charge shall be at least 21. The staff in charge shall have the authority to respond to emergencies, inspections, parental concerns, and have access to all required information. More than 42 children in care. When the number of children present at an early learning center exceeds 42, the duties of the director or director designee shall consist only of performing administrative duties, or there shall be an individual present whose job duties consist solely of administrative duties and of ensuring staff members working with children do not leave their classrooms to handle administrative duties. Staff shall be 18 or older. A person aged 17 may be included in the child-staff ratio if the person works under direct supervision of an adult staff member. Section 1709, Director Qualifications. The director designee shall be at least 21 years of age. The director designee shall have documentation of at least one of the following upon date of hire as director or director designee: an early childhood ancillary certificate and 1 year of experience in teaching or care in a licensed early learning center or comparable setting, subject to approval by the department. A national administrative credential and 1 year experience in teaching or care in a licensed early learning center or comparable setting, plus 6 credit hours or 90 clock hours of training in child care, child development, early childhood, or management or administration, subject to approval by the department. 3 years of experience as a director or staff in a licensed early learning center or comparable setting, subject to approval by the department, plus 6 credit hours or 90 clock hours of training in child care, child development, early childhood, or management administration, approved by the department. A director who was qualified on the director's date of hire remains qualified as long as the director remains continuously employed at a licensed center or at another licensed center without a break in service for more than 90 days. Chapter 1711, Child to Staff Minimum Ratios. Child to staff ratios are established to ensure the safety of all children. Minimum child to staff ratios shall be met at all times. There shall be a minimum of 2 staff members present at an early learning center when more than one child is present. Only those staff members directly providing care, supervision, or guidance to children shall be counted in the child to staff ratio. The department's form noting required child to staff ratios shall be posted in each room included in the center's license capacity. Minimum child to staff ratios for Type 1 centers are as follows. Infants under 1 year, the ratio is 6 to 1. 1-year-old, ratio 8 to 1. 2-year-olds, ratio of 12 to 1. 3-year-olds, ratio of 14 to 1. 4-year-olds, ratio of 16 to 1. 5-year-olds, ratio of 20 to 1. And 6 years and up, ratio 25 to 1. The minimum child to staff ratios for Type 2 and Type 3 centers. Children, infants and under, ratio 5 to 1. 1-year-olds, ratio of 7 to 1. 2-year-olds, ratio is 11 to 1. 3-year-olds, ratio of 13 to 1. 4-year-olds, ratio of 15 to 1. 5-year-olds, the ratio is 19 to 1. And 6 years and up, the ratio is 23 to 1. Mixed age groups, minimum child to staff ratio. An average of the child to staff ratio may be applied to mixed age groups of children ages 2, 3, 4, and 5. Child-to-staff ratio for children under age 2 are excluded from averaging. When a mixed age group includes children younger than age 2, the age of the youngest child determines the child-to-staff ratio for the group. An average may be applied to a mixed age group consisting only of children ages 5 or older. Rest time, minimum child-to-staff ratio. Sufficient staff and needed to satisfy child-to-staff ratios may be present on the premises during rest time and available to assist as needed. Children ages 1 or older may be grouped together at rest time, with one staff member in each room supervising the resting children. Walking to and from school. Minimum child-to-staff ratios shall be met when walking children to and from school. Field trips. Minimum child-to-staff ratios. Minimum child-to-staff ratios plus one additional adult shall be met for all field trips. An adult staff member from the center shall be present with each group of children. At no time shall a child or group of children be left alone without an adult staff member present, unless the child is supervised by the parent of the child or designated representative authorized in writing by the parent. Non-vehicular excursions, minimum child-to-staff ratios. Minimum child-to-staff ratio plus one additional adult shall be met for all non-vehicular excursions. An adult staff member from the center shall be present with each group of children. At no time shall a child or group of children be left alone without an adult present unless the child is supervised by the child's parent or designated representative authorized in writing by the parent on the non-vehicular excursion. Water activities, minimum child-to-staff ratio. A minimum of 2 staff shall be present when children are engaged in water activities. The following minimum child-to-staff ratios apply when children are engaged in water activities, excluding water play activities unless the children are participating in swimming lessons with a certified water safety instructor. The age of the youngest child determines the child-to-staff ratio with children in a group of mixed age. Children 3 years, the ratio is 20 to 2. 4 years old, 25 to 2. 5 years old and up, the ratio is 30 to 2. Special needs minimum child-to-staff ratio. With the nature of a child with special needs, special health care needs, or the number of children with special health care needs warrants added care, the center shall add sufficient staff as necessary. Maximum group sizes for Type 1, Type 2, and Type 3 centers. Children, infants under age 1, the maximum group size is 18. 1-year-old, 24, 2 years old, 24, 3 years old, 28, 4 years old, 32, 5 years old, 40, and the maximum group size for 6 and up is 50. Maximum group size for Type 2s and Type 3 centers. Infants under age 1, the maximum group size is 15. 1-year-old, 21. 2 years old, 22. 3 years old, 26. 4 years old, 30. 5 years old, 38. And children 6 years old and up, the maximum group size is 46. Section 1713, supervision. Children shall be supervised at all times in the center, on the playground, on field trips, on non-vehicle excursions, and during all water activities and water play activities. Children shall not be left alone in any room except the restroom as indicated in subsection G of this section, or when being provided services by therapeutic professionals as defined in section 103, outdoors or in vehicles, even momentarily without staff present. A staff person shall be assigned to supervise specific children whose names and whereabouts that staff person shall know and with whom the staff person shall be physically present. Staff shall be able to state how many children are in their care at all times. Individuals who do not serve a purpose related to the care of the children or who hinder the supervision of care of children in care shall not be present in the center. While supervising a group of children, staff shall devote their time to supervising the children, meeting the needs of the children, and participating with them in their activities. Staff duties that include cooking, housekeeping, or administrative functions shall not interfere with the supervision of the children. Restrooms. Children who are developmentally able may be permitted to go to the restroom independently at an early learning center, provided that a staff member is in proximity to see and can see the children and to ensure immediate intervention to safeguard a child from harm while in the restroom. And individuals who are not staff members may not enter the center's restroom area while in use by any child other than their own child. A child 4 and older may be permitted to go and return from the restroom without staff. Play yard. When children are on the play yard, the supervising staff must be able to summon another adult staff member without leaving the children unsupervised. Water activities. Staff shall actively supervise children engaged in water activities and shall be able to see all parts of the swimming pool, including the bottom. Rest time. If 2 rooms share a common doorway, one staff member may supervise the resting children in both rooms. If the view of the staff member supervising the children is obstructed by an object such as a low shelving unit, children shall be checked by sight by staff circulating among the resting children. Section 1715, staff records and personnel files. Staff members. Personnel files for each staff member shall be maintained at the center and shall include the following: an application or staff information form containing the following information: name, date of birth, home address and phone number, training, work experience, educational background, hire date, and first date on site working with children. Staff members. Copy of state or federal government issued photo identification. Upon termination or resignation of employment, the last date of employment and reason for leaving, and documentation of CCCBC-based determination of eligibility for child care purposes from the department. Records retention. Staff records and personnel files shall be maintained for a minimum of 3 years from the date of termination of employment. Section 1717, records for independent contractors and student trainees. Independent contractors. The following information shall be maintained for all independent contractors, including but not limited to therapeutic professionals, extracurricular personnel, contracted transportation drivers, local school district staff, and departmental staff other than those responsible for inspecting centers. An information form that includes the person's name, address, and phone number. A list of duties performed while present at the center. and documentation of a CCCBC-based determination of eligibility for child care purposes from the department or documentation of the adult staff member not otherwise counted in child-to-staff ratio that accompanied the contractor at all times while the contractor was at the center when children were present, to include the date, contractor arrival and departure time, language stating that the contractor was accompanied by a staff member at all times while at the center when children were present, and the signature of both the contractor and the accompanying staff members. Student trainees. The following information shall be maintained for all student trainees. An application or information form with the student's name, date of birth, address, telephone number, name of the educational center and course instructor, and a job description that includes duties to be performed. A list of duties performed while present at the center, and documentation of a CCCBC-based determination of eligibility for child care purposes from the department. Records retention. Records for independent contractors and student trainees shall be maintained for a minimum of 3 years from the date the contractor or student was last present at the center. Section 1719, orientation training. Within 7 calendar days of the first day present at the center or prior to assuming sole responsibility for any children, each staff member shall receive orientation to the policies and practices of the center that at a minimum shall include child abuse identification and reporting, emergency preparedness, licensing regulations, and safe sleep practices. Within 30 calendar days of hire, each staff member shall receive orientation to the additional policies and practices of the center that at a minimum shall include child development, child guidance, learning activities, health and safety, shaken baby prevention, and CPR and first aid as applicable. All staff members responsible for transporting children shall receive additional orientation in the following areas prior to assuming their transportation duties. Transportation regulations, including the modeling of how to properly conduct a vehicle passenger check and demonstration by staff to director on how to conduct a vehicle passenger check. Proper use of child safety restraints required by state law. Proper loading, unloading, and tracking of children as required by state law. Location of first aid supplies, and emergency procedures for the vehicle, including actions to be taken in the event of accidents or breakdowns. Section 1721, continuing education. Early learning centers shall provide opportunities for continuing education of staff members who are left alone with children or who have supervisory or disciplinary authority over children. Staff members of early learning centers, excluding foster grandparents, shall obtain a minimum of 12 clock hours of continuing education per center anniversary year. Staff members of Type 1, Type 2, Type 3 centers who are neither left alone with children nor have supervisory or disciplinary authority over children shall obtain a minimum of 3 clock hours of continuing education in job-related topics per center's anniversary year. Continuing education for all types of centers shall be conducted by trainers approved by the department. The department shall keep a registry of approved trainers. Continuing education hours shall be in the areas of child development, child guidance, child abuse prevention, emergency preparedness, licensing regulations, learning activities, health and safety, shaken baby prevention, CPR, first aid, management, administrative education, or college credit hours in child care, development, and or early childhood. The 3 hours of training by a child care health consultant on infectious diseases, health and safety, and or food service preparation required in LAC 5121.301.A.9 shall not count toward continuing education for staff members. Pediatric first aid training and infant adult CPR training may count as continuing education in the anniversary year in which it's taken. Medication administrative training by a child care health consultant may count as continuing education in the anniversary year in which it's taken. Copies of certificates of completion or transcripts shall be maintained at the center and available for inspection by the licensing division upon request. Section 1723, CPR and first aid certification. Infant and child CPR. 50% of staff members on the premises of a center and accessible to children, or at least 4 staff members on the premises and accessible to children, whichever is less, shall have current certification in infant and child CPR through training approved by the department. Adult CPR. 50% of staff members on the premises of a center and accessible to children, or at least 4 staff members on the premises and accessible to children, whichever is less, shall have current certification in adult CPR through training approved by the department. Pediatric first aid. 50% of staff members on the premises of a center and accessible to children, or at least 4 staff members on the premises and accessible to children, whichever is less, shall have current certification in pediatric first aid through training approved by the department. When a center has more than one building, each building shall have at least one staff member present at all times certified in the CPR and first aid, appropriate for the age of the children present in the building. Certification. A copy of the certification for each staff member shall be on site at all times and available for inspection by the department. First responder. Staff members who maintain current certification as a first responder are considered to have current certification in CPR and pediatric first aid. Section 1725, medication management training. All staff members who administer medication shall have medication administration training. Whether the center is administering medication or not, each early learning center shall have at least 2 staff members trained in medication administration and at least 1 trained staff member on the premises during the hours of operation. A staff member who's a licensed practical nurse, also known as LPN, or registered nurse, also known as RN, with a valid nursing license shall be considered to have medication administration training. Such training shall be completed every 2 years with an approved child health care consultant. Quiz. Choose the correct answer. Number 1, the director or director designee shall be an on-site blank staff person at the center during the daytime hours of operation prior to 9 p.m. A, part-time, B, full-time, C, on and off, D, solo. B, full-time. True or false? A person age 17 may be included in the child-to-staff ratio if the person works under the direct supervision of an adult staff member. True. Number 3, there shall be a minimum of 2 staff members present at the early learning center when more than 1 child is present. True. Choose the correct answer. Number 4, blank percent of staff members on the premises of a center and accessible to children, or at least 4 staff members on the premises and accessible to children, whichever is less, shall have current current certification in infant and child CPR through training approved by the department. A, 25, B, 30, C, 10, D, 50. D, 50. True or false? Number 5. When a center has more than one building, each building shall have at least one staff member present at all times certified in the CPR and first aid appropriate for the age of the children present in the building. True. Thank you for participating in course 3 of Bulletin 137. The Division of Licensing contact information is Louisiana Department of Education, Division of Licensing, Post Office Box 4249, Baton Rouge, Louisiana 70821. The phone number is 225-342-9905, and our fax is 225-342-2498. You can also email any questions to ldelicensing@la.gov. Thank you.